go. On a Monday, we are packed. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we're live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. 1 hour from now, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong. Plenty of both. Joy Taylor is joining me, as always, after another wild weekend. Joy, how are you?
I'm great. That was a wild weekend.
It was crazy. It was fun. This is such a fun time of the year. She's got great stories coming up in Herdline News today. There's so much news to get into this show. We'll try to address all of it today. Let me start with this. I've said before, I'm not in the credit business. MasterCard, Visa, and American Express are in the credit business. I'm in the honesty business. There are times when the loser is more interesting than the winner. Greg Norman once lost a Masters. He was more interesting than the winner that year. This year, the losing horse at the Kentucky Derby was more interesting than the winning horse at the Kentucky Derby. So Toronto, just hold on a second. I want to start my show with the Sixers. They're just a super talented, dysfunctional, lovable, hot mess. Egos, injuries, flaws, egos. Did I mention egos? Personalities, social media don't fit together. The Philadelphia 76ers, and we predicted this thing doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I got to be honest, they're fascinating. Second best roster, at least starting five, I believe, in the NBA talent-wise. So Philadelphia, now you can go two ways, Philadelphia. I told you last week I'm trying to save your franchise. You can either, number one, keep the band together, fire the head coach. That's the answer, right? You'd win it all if it wasn't for the head coach. So let's just fire the coach. That's always, in the NBA, that's always the solution. Just get rid of the coach. He's a bum. We'd be great without him, so you can fire the coach. And by the way, you could stay the course, and you can talk yourself into, well, Kyrie Irving's leaving Boston, so they'll be worse. And Kawhi Leonard may leave Toronto, so they'll be worse, and we'll just stay the course. And that's not going to work either. Because Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons don't work. Good luck with Joel Embiid's body. Jimmy Butler doesn't get along long-term with anybody. Or you can do the second thing, which is make really tough choices. And that's generally, I tell my kids this all the time, that's generally the right answer in life. Make tough choices. Make sure you make the right ones. Oklahoma City did not. Chose Westbrook over Harden and KD. Make tough choices. Embiid's body's not going to last. Embiid and Simmons don't get along. Let somebody else overpay for Tobias Harris. Make tough choices. But you better make the right ones. Because here's the facts. You could not win a second-round playoff series in the East, and the East is weaker than the West, and you couldn't win it. And by the way, tip of the cap to Toronto. But Kawhi Leonard is amazing, and it was hot potato for the other four guys because nobody else seemed to want to take a shot. It's just get the ball to Kawhi. I don't want it. You take it. And you couldn't beat that team. And you couldn't beat that team that historically tends to, Toronto, shrink a little in the playoffs. That's fair, right? So it's choices time. Philly's last three possessions summed up their season. Man, there's a lot of talent. Man, those were bad possessions. Oh, those were bad possessions. And, you know, my theory on this, you keep Jimmy Butler, you keep Ben Simmons, you trade Embiid, don't trust the body, get shooters, don't overpay for Tobias Harris, you keep J.J. Redick. You've shown an ability to find shooters, not through the draft, but you know, trades, free agency. You did that a couple years ago, and that's what I would do. So I'm going to lay it on the line. I know most of you would keep Embiid because he's rewarding you now, and he is a great player. But I would say this, Philadelphia, if you want to know how to do it and make sure you win going forward, look across the street to the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't do the popular thing. They let go of Nick Foles. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, the MVP, Nick Foles, and you know what the Eagles said? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Carson Wentz still isn't healthy. They went with a guy that's still hurt and the guy that some teammates don't like, but he's more talented. They went with Carson Wentz, the young guy who not everybody likes, sort of like Ben Simmons, right? Sort of like Ben Simmons. They didn't go with a popular choice, which was to keep likable Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl. They made tough choices. And the reason the Philadelphia Eagles, once again this year, will be one of the 4 or 5 teams at the end of the year we think can win the Super Bowl, maybe they do, maybe they don't, is because they made tough choices, not popular choices, and they made the right choices. Oh, by the way, Toronto, I'm not dissing you. Congratulations. And one more time, let's show it to the nation. The only Game 7 buzzer beater ever. Here you go.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? Game! Series! Toronto has won!
Congrats. Tip of the cap. Fred Van Vliet, next hour on the show. Calling right, calling wrong, 40 minutes from now. Let me shift gears to this. There wasn't any games on Saturday. I almost wanted to watch the Rockets and the Warriors again. Sports has a lot of machismo. Be the man. Take the shot. Remember we used to criticize LeBron? You didn't take the shot. Well, I was double teamed. There was an open guy. You got to take the shot. It's the way a man does it. Sports a lot about that. Not just the NBA. Sports is a lot about that. Got to be the man. Look like the man. Act like the man. Talk like the man. Be the man. Steph Curry does not fit a lot of those machismo stereotypes. He's slight. He doesn't really care about awards. He wears nerdy shoes. He recruited another star. He's slight. He doesn't look like Dr. J. He's not as strong as Michael. Not as big and tough as Pippen and Akeem and Shaq, and doesn't have the killer instinct, right? And so he is the least respected star because he doesn't look like what we think a star should be, which is giving and not into awards and family guy, not alpha, and sometimes recruits other star players and can take a step back. And that just doesn't, how do we wrap our brains around that? Well, it's just like kids. There's a lot of different ways to be a parent, a lot of different ways to be a human, and Steph's a different way to be a superstar, and I absolutely love it. More NBA players, if you did a poll, respect Russell Westbrook than Steph Curry. Charles Barkley, himself a great player and a terrific broadcaster, went on the air after Kevin Durant went down. And I love Charles, but he said this.
The Warriors ain't got no chance of winning without Kevin Durant.
This series?
This series or any other series. He made them a dynasty. Let's don't sleep on that. People say, well, they won one. They did. They was terrific. And they won 7-2. They lost that series. But that was like 5 years ago. People act like that was 2 years ago. They did not become a juggernaut until KD got there. Everybody who knows basketball, he's the guy who made them a dynasty.
Okay, let's just say this. That wasn't a shot at the Warriors. It was a shot at Steph. Because if Steph got hurt, would Charles say that about the KD, Clay, Draymond Warriors? He wouldn't say that about that team. I don't think Charles even meant to do it. And I'm okay with Charles having big opinions and being wrong. I do both all the time. But we have more respect in this league for Harden, who keeps disappearing in big spots, and Westbrook. And I got to tell you something. It reminds me of Cam Newton. It's taken us a while to acknowledge, right? It's not that great. Because Cam Newton looks like what a star quarterback should look like. Big, rocket arm, handsome, perfect smile. He fills the TV screen up. Tom Brady's unathletic, kind of gangly. I see those pictures when he's vacationing in Costa Rica, and he looks like a dentist. And Tom Brady's been to 8 Super Bowls, and still all I hear is, well, he's kind of a system quarterback. I mean, let's be honest, it's Belichick. No, Tom Brady's a great quarterback. Cam's not. But I guess maybe certain guys play and have the machismo and the alpha of what we think a star should look like. Do you realize in the history of the NBA, I'm not sure there's ever been another player ever in the history of the NBA, I'll say it again, the history of the NBA, that could have 0 points in the first half and 33 in the second. I mean, folks, that doesn't even make any sense. And one of the things I like, and I've always defended Steph on, is this. I like specialists. I'm not into your liberal arts degree. Are you an engineer? Are you an architect? Are you a doctor? What are you? Are you a school teacher? Be a specialist. Have you noticed what's left in the NBA right now? Kawhi Leonard's a specialist, the best two-way player. Giannis, best player within 5 feet of the rim in the NBA. Steph, best ball handler, best shooter in the NBA. KD, best player. By the way, Portland, second best backcourt in the NBA. All the guys that are just guys, those teams are done. Specialists. And by the way, let me add a third best to Steph Curry. Is it possible? He's the best leader. I mean, after 0 points in the first half, didn't play the victim, didn't blame the refs, James Harden, didn't blame the system, came out and scored 33 points. We've got to stop believing that everybody fits into one box, and I can be guilty of this. But ball handling, shooting, and leadership, Friday night, I can make an argument. The best player in the world at all three of those was on display, Steph Curry. That was why I love sports. Vegas said they had no chance to win. They won because of Steph Curry. Great stuff today. Absolutely packed. Calling right, calling wrong in about 40, 50 minutes, whatever it is. I can't read the clock today. I have a bad back injury today, so I am being neutralized by heavy doses of Aleve. Heavy doses.
You got to cut back on the tennis.
I'm done with it. I'm tired of it.
You're just going to quit?
I don't know. I barely started. I'm tired of feeling tired. I'll tell you that.
Do you stretch beforehand?
Stretching. God, I'm tired of stretching more than tennis. Listen, I play tennis, I go home. Why do I have to stretch?
Well, I think your body is telling you why.
I am tired of getting good advice. I am really tired of that. Coming up next, I can be honest with you. Do the Lakers love LeBron? Or do they secretly hate LeBron? And I'm going to give you 5 examples, and you tell me because I can't figure it out. Joy Herdline News as well. That's coming up. Listen, nothing compares to Butcher Box. If you like your protein, you like your meat, you like your steaks, you like your pork chops, you like your salmon, you like your beef, the best high-quality meat conveniently delivered to your door. They deliver 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, free-range organic chicken, heritage breed pork,